Good morning everyone and welcome to the Sabi Sands in South Africa. My name's Scott, I'm teamed up with Senzo on camera and this is a live safari. We are 103% live, entirely live, and we would love to hear from you. So please send through your questions, comments and thoughts into any of the comment boxes depending on what platform you are watching on, or using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Now, we have come to our southern boundary in the hope that we're going to find any sign of a pride of lion called the Styx Pride. We came out in a bit of a staff drive last night and we managed to find the small cubs. There's two different age groups, one about 6 months, one about 3 months, and we saw them lying up in the place where we actually had them yesterday morning, which means that their parents had left them for at least 12 hours in search of food, possibly even longer. They could have even spent 24 hours away from their cubs had they have left them early in the evening the night before last. So it's going to definitely be worth checking up on them. I'm hoping that they've come onto Djuma and not made a kill to the south of our boundary and then taken the cubs to that, but there's only one way to find out. So I'm going to be checking this road very carefully for any tracks. It is an easy road to see tracks in, or on rather. So this morning it's just myself out for the first half an hour here in South Africa before Taylor and Ralph join us up in the Masai Mara in Kenya, so that's something to look forward to. Noel has the morning off. Okay. Now, we were just a little bit further up where we saw the little cubs last night, and it'll be fascinating if they're still here, because then it'll mean they've been definitely left for at least 24 hours. I don't think that is going to be the case though. This is where they were lying up, on this little mound to our left. It was a very cute scene, all the little cubs huddled up, and I can see already a few tracks kind of up and down on the road here. Just gonna hop out for a second, everyone. Keep an eye out for me, watch my back in case any lions start creeping up on me, please. It is still a little bit dark and it's an overcast morning, but it's definitely getting lighter later in the mornings as we head out of the kind of middle of our summer in towards our winter months. Okay, so what I'm checking for here is whether or not there's any tracks of the adult lions nearby coming to collect the cubs. There's no immediate sign. I can see quite a few tracks of the youngsters up and down, so nothing conclusive here. No very fresh tracks that I can see. Hang on, what was this? Oh well, here's a wild dog track. So I'm wondering if this is the same pack that was around the Vuyatela Dam last night. Now wild dogs do move during the the nights, even though they ordinarily move more during the day. So that was interesting to see. Two apex predators tracks in one area. Interesting stuff. Now, I wonder if wild dogs are going to be a threat to those young cubs. Hard to be certain. Let's keep just bumbling along this road and see if we don't have any luck here. Senzo can see something up ahead. Oh, this looks good. Well done, Senzo. Senzo spotted exactly what we're looking for. What a scene. Woohoo! We're in luck. How epic is this? I'm glad I hopped back in the vehicle when I did. Hello little cubbies. Now you can see Mom has had a successful night hunting. Her belly is swaying from side to side. I wonder what she was feeding on. And I also wonder where the rest of the pride is. Now we're just going to wait here. They're going to come straight past us, so we're going to get some great views of them. And what I actually might do is just pull over to the side a little bit. Sorry, Senzo's just leveled the camera, but I think it will be worth pulling over to the side, because then they might walk straight past us. Give them a bit of space on the road. Now I just need to update everyone on the radio quickly as to what's going on here. Morning guys. There is a portion of the Styx Pride heading east along Gowrie Main towards Twin Dams Road, close to Twin Dams. This is going to be absolutely epic. Michael, you're wondering if the Styx Pride will move more into Djuma now that the Inkuhuma Pride are gone. And yes, they certainly might. There's no guarantees out here, but I'm guessing that could well be the case. So I'm hoping that they do, because they certainly haven't been spending a great deal of time here, at least since I've been around. But it's so difficult to predict what these animals are going to do and when and how. Now we're in luck, because you can see the whole rest of the pride is also coming down in the background, and we are about to be in for an absolute treat. What an epic scene this is. And it looks like the whole pride has been collected last night, because even these young cubs have had a good meal. It looks like, sadly for the youngest cubs, that they may have not got too much to feed on. They, I'm guessing, will be feeding on meat, the smaller ones, but these older cubs definitely have had a good snack. Now what I'm hoping they're going to do next is head to Treehouse Waterhole to go for a drink. It's a waterhole that's very close to us, just behind us. Oof, they've had a great meal. David, you're wondering if the cubs are safe from hyenas at this age, and I mean, I'm fairly certain some hyena on 2 occasions came past these cubs last night, and I don't think they gave them any trouble. So I think depending on the area that they're in, you know, there could be varying degrees of threat from hyena. Here, hyena usually don't give lions too much trouble. But that's not to say, of course, oh, they are very close to us. How awesome is this? Can you believe it? Shame, now that they are very close, I can see that these little cubs are riddled with mange. So that good meal is definitely going to help them, because they are in a weakened state due to that. So another thing that I'm wondering now is, where is the rest of the pride? Because I don't think this is all of them. There should be some more members in the pride, but nobody is coming down the road further. There should be a few bigger lioness around, but not too sure what they've got up to. So we're gonna now loop back and get in front of them again. What I'm probably actually going to do is try and race ahead on the Firebreak Road and then get ahead of them. So hold on everyone, so we can get another view of them walking straight down the road past us. Wee-hee! K6, you'd like to know if any of these lioness have names? I'm actually not too sure. They could well have. Ordinarily though, here we mainly just focus on, well, in general, in a lot of areas, they'll just give the lioness prides a group name, and the coalition's the same thing. The coalitions of males usually get possibly an individual name. It all just depends. But I'm going to need some help on who's who and what's what. I don't even know how many lion are in this pride at the moment, to be honest. So I need some help on that. Now Danny, you're wondering how many cubs can a lioness have? It all depends kind of on the individual, I guess, but on average they'll give birth to 4 cubs at a time. But whether all of those cubs survive or not is hard to, you know, it's often not the case. Well, sadly they're veering off the wrong way, so I'm going to head back forward again. Sorry, Sens, no warning there. They're heading to the south, which is not what we wanted. We wanted them to head to the other side of the road where our water hole is, but no joy. Some of them may head there. What an epic scene. I just need to update the vehicles on what's going on here. The stations, it looks like these Angama are heading south at Baboon Pan, so if you want to rush to get you, if you want to see them. Alrighty. Now I'm told that there were 10 cubs in this pride. We can have seen 4 or 5 of the larger ones with this lioness at the back, and I can't remember how many of the tiny little ones came running past us initially. It's 4 of them, so I think that's 9 in total, not 10. And there should be a few more lioness lurking about somewhere. But it is not uncommon for prides of lion to split up and regroup. Well guys, our timing could not have been any better. We got very, very lucky, because to have these lions pacing down the road straight towards us on 2 different occasions just before they cross out of our property is a major, major bonus. Now what I need to also do is go onto one of the other radio frequencies just to let these guys know what's going on, because the people who operate in this area are on another radio frequency and we need to be friendly with sharing information, so hopefully they do the same for us. Morning guys, Styx and Gala are heading south from Gari Main at Baboon Pan. Can any station copy me? Sorry to lose focus on you guys, but it is really important that we do share information, so I really want to try and make sure we do the right thing here. Can any station copy me? Seems like that radio frequency might not be working too well from where we are in this low-lying area. Now that strange noise you can hear in the background, possibly wah 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 wah. It's a hardy-dar ibis, a bird flying past. Alrighty, let me just reposition slightly and try to get a few more views of them. What are they up to actually? They are having a drink, so let me actually go forward a bit. There we go. Now I wonder why they're choosing this small little dirty muddy pond. I guess all of the ponds are varying degrees of dirty and muddy, but excuse me, why they don't want to come onto Djuma for their drink at Twin Dams from at a far bigger waterhole where we'd be able to see them far better. But I guess there's no way of being certain. I wonder how far they've come from, and I also wonder if maybe they haven't caught something big like a buffalo, and these members have just come for a drink, and maybe other members of the Pride are still guarding the carcass. I mean, that is a possibility. No guarantees that that is the case, but I think it's definitely going to be worth backtracking them just to make sure we know exactly where they've come from. Octos, sorry, I need to just clear things up here. Oh, awesome, here comes another youngster. What a scene. I'm guessing this is a young boy who is a little bit of a rebel, who may have wanted to stay on the kill for as long as possible and get as much food into his belly as possible. Now, what's going to be interesting here is that he's going to be following the scent trail of the rest of the Pride. Well, now he's seen them, but it's incredible to, I think, no, he's calling. He's lost them. But you see, now he's got his nose to the ground, and this is an incredible testament to how good their senses actually are. He's going to veer off the road shortly, boom, straight on their scent trail, literally step for step, and he's going to come running into a little gap here shortly, so we're going to get another little view of his swollen belly, swaying from side to side. There he goes. He's got a little bit lost now. He's gone a little bit off their trail, but he's back onto it. And now he can see them, and he's going to be, even though he was probably not away from the Pride for too long, he's going to be relieved that he's caught up with them again. Now, is it a young male? Hard to be certain at this stage. I think I may have seen a little scrotum underneath that tail there, so it wouldn't surprise me that he is in fact a young boy. They often are a little bit more rebellious than their sisters. Oh, it looks like Mom might be starting to call. She just let off a soft grumbling contact call there, and look at how cute those little cubs are in the background. Sorry, Octo, just got distracted by that little cub that came running down the road. How epic was that? I answered a question about, what would happen if the Nkuhuma Pride were gone. Would the Styx Pride move deeper into Djuma? And it's just hypothetically speaking, if they were gone. They are not gone. We just haven't seen them for a while. And I think I'm not actually too sure where they're spending the majority of their time at the moment. So I'm thinking it's to the north of us and to the west of us. Oh, another vocalization. Come on, give us a full call. Shame you can see those cubs are quite itchy at the back. They're all scratching permanently. And that is the mange that they have all contracted. I'm told they got the mange from one of the coalition males, one of the dominant coalitions, their fathers, who was out and about and came back with mange and then spread it through the prides. I think Tristan told me that. Phew. Well, I think if this is the way we've started our morning, we've got great prospects that lie ahead. I've got a little treat in the form of a reptile that I'm going to go and show you later, that we found last night while we were driving about on a little bit of a staff drive. So we've got another reptilian predator on the cards for later. I was hoping it was going to be a sunny morning, but it seems like the clouds are about. Let me move forward a little bit, get some better views. Philip, you'd like to know if we've ever had conflict between the Styx Pride and the Nkuhuma Pride, whether we've actually managed to capture that and witness that. Not that I am aware of. It could have happened while I've been gone for just over a year. I guess a year and a half nearly. because when I rejoined Safari Live, I was in the Mara for 4 or 5 months. So I don't have too much history on exactly what this pride and the Nkuhuma pride, who are their kind of neighbors and therefore competition. But what I can assure you is that there has been some kind of interactions between the prides, even though we may not have documented it. What an incredible scene this is, and we've had a bit of a drought for lions here in the Sabi Sands. We've been very lucky with leopards, but I mean, this is just too good. Wonderful. Look at the one mom's muddy chin there. You get an idea of how dirty the water was that she was drinking. What did you guys have for dinner? I wonder. Either way, well done to them, because it's not easy business going about getting prey, and they were quite skinny when we saw them. Was it 2 days ago we saw them in this area? Yeah, it was 2 days ago we saw the adults here. And yeah, now on the second glance, it does look that these smaller cubs also did get a fair portion of the kill. It wasn't just the bigger cubs that got to cash in, but what we must remember, now they're getting their second meal for the night/morning. What we do need to remember is that the strongest and fittest will be the ones that dominate at the carcasses. So parents first, then the kind of older cubs will be able to feed on the most, and they will bully the smaller cubs out the way. And it's important that in nature only the biggest and strongest will get access to the kind of best resources. That will mean the pride members who are the oldest will be in the best shape, which will be of the most use to the pride. Having a fit and healthy 3-month-old cub doesn't really help the pride too much. Obviously in the future it will, but when they're at that age they're not really bringing much to the table. So that's why it's important that the providers and the oldest cubs, who are more likely to make it to adulthood, are the ones that get the most food. Well, it looks like they're all relaxing now. I wonder how far they've come from. Hello, Love 3 Dogs. You'd like to know if these young cubs are big enough and old enough to beat the mange, or are they simply too young? I'm guessing yes. If they get good food and if everything goes according to their parents' plans, they could well survive it. But I'm not an expert on mange, and I've actually never really spent time with lions who have had this situation. So this is a first for me. I've got no first-hand experience of this. It can be hugely problematic to prides, especially in times where they may be unfortunate, may not be having the best hunting, or for example in a drought when a lot of their prey are not as nutritious as they would be during times of plenty. That too could bring in some complications, and some of you will remember that terrible white mussel disease that caused a lot of trouble for the Nkuhuma pride during the last drought. So the lions were getting lots of kills. It was easy for them to catch buffalo, but the problem was the buffaloes they were feeding on were not very nutritious. So that's what caused them to kind of further weaken. And I guess any sickness or illness or disease will be exaggerated when your body is not up to full strength regarding what you're putting into it food-wise. Marvelous. Shoo, those cubs have done well. Looks like it's been inflated with air. And they're going to have a long and sleepy morning, I'm guessing. Perfect conditions for them to digest their meal on this cloudy day. Few birds calling around us. There's a black-headed oriole, a Cape turtle dove. Well, hello to Ellie Belly Life. You say you are new to Safari Live, so welcome. If you're a newbie, it's great to have you with us, and you are wondering if there are any dik-dik here in the Sabi Sands of South Africa, and sadly no, there are no dik-dik that occur in South Africa. However, up in Kenya, where Ralph and Taylor will shortly be joining the safari, there you have a chance of seeing dik-dik. It's mainly the Kirk's dik-dik that I've seen in the Masai Mara. You get a few different subspecies of them. They all look very similar. But yes, you'll hopefully at some point be able to see some dik-dik up in Kenya, but not down here. Our smallest antelope are steenbok and duiker, not nearly as small as the dik-dik, and in my opinion not nearly as cute, but wonderful to have you with us. And like I say, stay tuned for a bit longer, and maybe you can ask Taylor and Ralph to go on a dik-dik quest for you. We had a pair of dik-dik at the camp we used to manage, Gunther's dik-dik, and they were such great quality. We had a kind of office window with a kind of raised, we were sunken into the earth, so the dik-dik would walk up to our office window and be eye level with us. There was a lot of earth raised up outside the window, and we would lie little bits of cabbage on our windowsill and give them little snacks. So while we were working on the computer, we had a few dik-dik poking their heads in our window. I must actually see if I can find any videos of that. And again, whenever talking about feeding the animals, I must reiterate that as a general rule, it is not good to feed the animals, but with certain species, depending on their size and who they are and what they are, you can give some wild animals the odd snack without causing any negative habits or situations with them. And I think dik-dik were a good example of an animal that it's not too bad to give the odd snack to. It was actually really cool. We followed them so closely that we saw they form monogamous bonds, and we would see they were called Rosie and Thorn, the resident couple that lived in and around our office. They've got very small territories, and they compete over their territories quite ferociously. Anyway, we saw them mating. We saw Rosie's belly growing as she became more pregnant. We could even see the little baby kicking inside her belly. And one morning I heard Nikki shout, "Scott!" with a bit of a shrill in her voice. And then she was like, "I think Rosie's given birth." And we saw her so much every day that literally we saw her in the morning at like around 9 o'clock, and an hour or two later we saw her again, and Nikki noticed that she was no longer pregnant. And then we went searching to find her little baby, and we did find it hidden under a bush, still a little bit wet. So we've been very, very fortunate with some incredible dik-dik sightings. Okie dokie. Now, like I said, I guess these lions are going to be snoozing for the rest of the morning, and after the wonderful views we've had of them, I think it may be in our best interest to go and see what else is happening on Djuma. But we'll give it a few more minutes for you guys to enjoy this. But there is a burning desire within me to try my absolute best to find Tundi, a female leopard, who has got a tiny 6-week-old cub, well, at least had a tiny 6-week-old cub when we last saw it about 5 days ago, 6 days ago, was the last time the cub was seen with its mother. Let's hope it is still alive. Sadly, the mortality rate of young cubs, not only leopard but also lion, is quite high out here. But I really would like to try and find her new den. Well, Kesha, you'd like to know who decides where they nap. Well, out of the two lionesses in this pride, who are kind of both lined up one behind the other now, one of them will be more dominant. Which one is more dominant, I'm not too sure at this stage. But one of them will make the decisions. So the ladies, the oldest, most experienced, not necessarily oldest, but one of the ladies within the pride will be the one making those decisions. I really do wonder how much dispute there is between the other lioness and the pride as to where to go and what to do, but you don't ever seem to notice any major kind of issues or debates between them. They all kind of just seem to go with the flow. You'd like to know if lions will only suckle from their mothers, and yes, as a general rule that is the case, and if they go and try and suckle from one of their aunts will snarl and growl and chase them off. So you do sometimes get cheeky cubs trying to sneak a suckle, but it's not allowed. Although there have been accounts if a lioness is killed with cubs, then you may find that another lioness may adopt the orphans. But that's obviously a different scenario to the norm. They don't all kind of share the suckling duties. In terms of what we're seeing now, grooming like this, maybe one lioness will groom another's cubs. And I'm told a lot of you guys are over the moon and really happy that you've got to see this pride of lion, and also importantly that they have got nice full bellies, and so am I. This has been an incredible sighting this morning. I looked back and saw Senzo squinting up the road. He definitely saw some movement. He wasn't sure what it was. It was still kind of dark, and there they came, all trundling straight down the road towards us. What an absolute treat. Kat, you would like to know if grooming helps, with regards to curing the mange that they have, or does it spread it? I am not too sure. A part of me wants to say that it possibly worsens it. It's like us humans, if we've got a rash or an itch, you've got that desire to want to scratch it, but often that may not necessarily be the best case. But I'm not too sure with regards to mange and how exactly it responds to them licking and grooming it. Andrew, are you wondering if when these young Styx cubs grow up, the males at least, is there any chance that they would form a coalition with the young males from the Nkhuhuma Pride? And yes, there is a chance that would happen, but as a general rule, it's brothers and cousins from the same pride that form coalitions. That is the general rule. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, 2 young males from this pride and 2 young males from the Nkhuhuma Pride were to meet up as they are kicked out of home. They could kind of fight it out between one another. Initially, there will be an initial scrap, and then they could kiss and make up and form a lifelong coalition and partnership. It's not uncommon even for older males and established coalitions to adopt younger males into coalitions from different prides. There's no set rules, but like I said, as a general norm, it'll be brothers and cousins from the same natal pride that join up together. A lot of the time, well, not a lot of the time, but you'll get cases where, of course, there's just one young male born to a pride and he gets kicked out, and the poor guy will be all on his lonesome as he is growing up and trying to work out what's what, and that will obviously increase the likelihood of him joining up with another group of male lions from a different pride, be it 1 or 2 or 3. There's so many variables in this kind of a scenario. Guide Monkey, you'd like to know if excuse me, if there's, excuse me, sorry everyone. If there's ever a sick member within a pride, will the rest of the pride just kind of abandon them, or will they try and look after them? As a general rule, they will do what's best for the pride, and ordinarily it's very difficult for a lion to try and doctor a sick or old or injured lion back to health. So if that individual can't really look after itself and get itself to the kills and compete when it comes to feeding, then as a general rule they will just slowly be left behind and wither away. I've seen a scenario where there was a massive pride of lion in the Kruger National Park of over 20 lion, and one of the lionesses was getting really, really old. She hardly had any kind of teeth left in her mouth. She could hardly chew on the kills, and she would be outcompeted at kills. Even a giraffe kill, where there was loads and loads of meat that would feed that pride for days, she was very often chased off the kill and not allowed to feed on it, which was absolutely mind-boggling to me, that the pride would be so harsh to one of their own pride members, even with such a surplus of food and meat. But I guess, they knew full well that she was on the way out, and therefore it was essentially a waste of resources. So nature can certainly be quite harsh in situations like that, but there's always kind of exceptions to the rule, and some interesting stories where, of course, maybe there has been some level of nurturing of a sick or wounded lion. Now, what has got that one lioness up? What has she seen behind us there? I'm looking back and can't see anything. Maybe it's something she heard. Keep an eye on her ears. Let's see what her ears are twitching from side to side. Well, seems like everything's calmed down now. I'm definitely interested what got her attention. Maybe it is the audio of other lions in the area. Maybe we'll get lucky and have one of the big males come onto the scene. For you guys are going to be heading all the way up to Kenya in the Masai Mara with Taylor. Enjoy. Looking back at this animal, the animal that does not have the most attractive legs in the bush. Well, I think the oxpeckers are pretty on the buffalo, but we're out here in the Mara Triangle this morning, and the sun is just starting to rise, and it is indeed going to poke its head above the escarpment in the distance, which will be absolutely beautiful. Isn't that lovely? What a great way to start the day. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me this morning is none other than the Manene, aka Manu, as he's also known as around camp, but mainly Manene. And we've been listening to the roars of lions the whole night. I was convinced that there was a male lion in camp at one point, well, at least fairly close to camp, but I don't know where they are, so we're searching for them at the moment. Remember, this is a live and interactive show, so you can talk to us. You can hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can also talk to us via the YouTube chat and ask us all the questions you've ever dreamed of asking a safari guide. But isn't that gorgeous? I think the oxpeckers are up pretty early this morning. It's impressive. They're chirping away quite a bit. The other birds haven't quite caught on, except the rufous snape-like, which I can hear. What is that oxpecker eating? Is it a massive engorged tick? Yes, it is. And then you can see trying to feed all the youngsters. The juveniles are the ones that don't have any coloration on their beak. Look at that. Desperately begging, flapping its wings, opening its mouth, saying, give it to me, I want it. And that adult is going, no, it's mine. That's a massive tick. So it just goes to show you, though, how much blood those ticks can suck up. It's interesting the way their bodies are designed and to be able to engorge themselves, kind of like when a lion gorges itself on buffalo. You're not going to get any. Oh no, it did. It got it. I don't know if it stole it or if it got given it. Maybe the adult was trying to break. That would have been a terrible start to that oxpecker's morning. Luckily it didn't go between its back legs. Good move, oxpecker. And I wonder if that adult wasn't just trying to open up that tick a little bit to encourage the blood to come out. Remember, that's what they're feeding on. You can't just beg more. You've just had some. Give everybody else a chance.
What a great start. Now, as we sit here, I'm really hoping that the lions are going to roar again so I can hear exactly where they're coming from, but my luck, that won't happen. And then we'll have to go and try and find some other animals. But I'm wearing my lucky jacket. We're definitely going to try and visit the jackals today. That's going to be on the agenda. And we need to finish our poem, of course. I believe you're all going, ew, yucky, at the big tick. Well, they've got to eat too, I suppose. At least the birds are helping them remove the buffalo. Imagine having one of those ticks, not just one, but hundreds, if not thousands of ticks attached to your body. I'm kind of glad we don't have as much hair as a buffalo. It makes it a little bit easier to control the parasites. Hey, Manu, when last did you get dipped? No, I'm just joking. When you live out in the bush, I feel, especially in the Sabi sand after a bushwalk, we should be getting dipped. They should send us through, the cattle dipping service. Palin, you said that was your 24th bird. Very cool. There we go. Starting off with a bird list very early in the morning. Well done. That's good. We'll hopefully add a few more, and hopefully by the end of drive you'll have 30 birds. We'll see what else we can find. But let's go down. Maybe if we go down to the bottom of the escarpment, because we're still quite a way up, we will be able to look up and see the lions. I'm hoping that that's maybe the case. Also, for those of you that have just seen African buffalo for the first time, I have to tell you that these are tough creatures. You will not believe how incredibly strong they are. Firstly, they can fight off and kill lions. I mean, that's pretty spectacular. But the other amazing thing that they can do is that they don't choose to lay on soft, fluffy pillows. This morning, Manu and I saw a buffalo resting its head on a rock as it slept. I thought it was dead. So that was quite impressive. Just shows you they don't mind the rocks to use as pillows, which I thought was quite cool. It's a pity it didn't stay laying down, because that would have been a great opening for the sunrise safari, well, for the Mara team. Now, Robin, we were actually just chatting about this. You were wondering if it's only the blood that the oxpeckers, oh, that's the wrong gear, eat. Yes, it is. So they're not actually feeding on most of the skin. Obviously, there's so little skin on a tick, though. It wouldn't surprise me if they did gobble them up. And also the yellow-billed oxpeckers, they also like to feed on the tick larvae. So they're gulping down the whole thing, I suppose, and the smaller species of ticks. So a combination of both, but predominantly blood, and that's why they pick away at scabs on animals, is to try and get that blood flow going again. Let me check. It's a bit disorientating when you're in camp and you hear lions roar, because there's valleys on either side of where we are. So sometimes it's hard to try and figure out where exactly it was coming from. I thought it sounded like it was coming a little bit closer towards Mara West. But I don't think they're down here now. Okay, well, we'll keep searching around here. I'll have a bit of a scratch to see if the lions aren't maybe making their way out from the forest. Ralph is not too far ahead of me, and I know his plan is to go and search for Hyena.
Yes, good morning everybody, and thank you, Taylor. Welcome aboard once more with us here in the Masai Mara, and to be more specific, the Mara Triangle, 1 degree south of the equator. We're in Kenya. My name is Ralph Kirsten, and we've got Archie on the camera. Thanks, Archie. Yes, what a wonderful morning it is. And we've been making our way towards the Tanzanian border, and we're going to try and catch up with that hyena den. Maybe look around the Inselbergs. I hear that there is a request for Dicks, so we'll try our best there. Please don't forget to join us on the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter and on the YouTube live chat. We'd love to hear your questions and your comments, and get involved with us as we watch those hot air balloons making their way towards the sunrise, and the elephants there grazing through the plains. Looks like a waterbuck there just in front of us. It's nice and fresh this morning. It's probably around 18 degrees centigrade, maybe very low 70s, or maybe high 60s Fahrenheit, somewhere around there. Nice and fresh. Every opportunity for predators to be walking around. We've only seen the odd elephant, which is pretty strange for me. Since I've been here in the Masai Mara, I've seen the plains and the marsh teeming with elephants. So maybe they've moved off a little bit. We did see some tracks of an elephant that's gone up the escarpment and onto the Olololo area on top of the escarpment. So I wonder if there's a little bit of movement of the elephants away from the marsh. And that one's got a very big chunk out of its ear. That would be a nice way for us to identify him. Or her, it looks like from here. It's quite far off. Now, Dale, you're wondering when we're going to see the cheetah again. Well, Dale, we've been wondering exactly the same. So Taylor and I have made a little plan to go across the river tomorrow, it seems. And so in the next couple of days, if you stay tuned, we're going to do our best to be following up and finding some of those cheetah. For me, it will be the first time to see cheetah in Kenya and in the Masai Mara. So Kevin, I'm looking forward to it. It's just as much as you are, and I'm going to make it a real point of mine to try and find Maleka and also the Musketeers and any other of the cheetah coalitions or favorite characters. Right, so even though we've got this lovely setting here, we do need to start moving on because we want to get to that hyena den as quickly as possible this morning, get all the activities, see what's been going on there, and carry on. Okay, so while I go searching for our usual suspects and the sinister group of hyenas, let's send you on over to another group of predators, but way on down south, all the way to South Africa, and Scott's still with the lions.
Well, Ralph really is enjoying that hyena den, and I'm sure a lot of you are as well. So let's hope it's highly active, because then not only would you have had the joy of seeing a whole bunch of lions and their cubs, but also some hyenas. Now, another lioness has come onto the scene, who is obviously still snacking on the kill. She's the individual that is licking that sub-adult there. So now 3 adult lioness and 10 cubs in total. 5 bigger ones and 6 bigger ones and 4 smaller ones. And Lynn, you're wondering if I know how many male cubs are in this pride. I know for a fact there's at least 1, but the rest I'm not too sure of. I've spent a very little bit of time with this pride, so don't know exactly what their composition is made up of regarding the youngsters. But I'm guessing there'll be a few more than just the 1, with 10 cubs in total. I would guess there's going to be at least 2 or 3 males. So I just need to chat with some of the vehicles that are wanting to make their way to the sighting. Go ahead. Okay, copy. Thanks very much, Charles. Is that north of the Balanites junction? Okay, well, one of the other guides has just let us know that he's got some leopard tracks. Okay, copy. Thanks very much. Got some leopard tracks on one of the roads on Djuma, so it might be worth heading across there a little bit later. It's male leopard tracks. I wonder who it could be. But I think what we're going to have to do, we've got a little bit of raindrops that are beginning to fall, so I think we're going to have to start covering up our equipment so that we don't break any of this honestly quite fancy equipment and sensitive equipment when it comes to water. That all gets pieced together to somehow miraculously send these pictures to you live from the middle of the African wilderness. And I think what we're going to do is probably move away from this Pride. There are going to be quite a lot of vehicles making their way here now that the word is spread that to our southern neighbors. So we can head off, put on our rain covers, head towards a little reptile that I would like to show you, and then probably go and search for Tundi, a female leopard, after that. I'm desperate to try and find her and her new den sites. Imagine if we can get lion cubs, hyena cubs and leopard cubs all in one morning. Wonderful stuff. Well, it's time to say goodbye for you guys to these sleepy Styx lions. I'm so happy that they've had a good meal, and I'm hoping maybe they'll come onto our property later this evening. For you though, you're heading back to Kenya.
Shame, it seems like you guys got a little bit of rain down there in South Africa, hey? But for us, it's not ultimately clear, but it doesn't look like we're going to be having any rain anytime soon. There's a few little clouds about, but they're quite high up. And yesterday afternoon, late, just after the show, we got pretty wet with a bit of a downpour. And Archie and I quickly hurried to put down our covers, and as Murphy's Law is always present, as soon as we got our covers down and we had got ourselves nicely wet in the process, the rain then stopped. So, and that was it for the rest of the evening. It looked terribly ominous. It looked like there were 3 storms gathering to build into one superstorm, and it all never happened. So we were quite disappointed really after the whole anticipation of this huge storm and getting our covers down and getting wet in the process. But well, that's the way it goes. So maybe Scott and them are getting a little bit of what we were supposed to last night. Now, it's been quite interesting coming out again towards where the hyena den is. As I've said, there's been quite a lot less elephants to be seen than I've seen in the previous few days. Now, Yakima, you're asking the question, how cold does it get here? Just as we stop here, there's a nice little view of a black-bellied bustard. If we can just have a look at that while we're sitting here. Remember, we are on the main road, so there is an opportunity for cars to be coming past us, and I think one is approaching, just so that you know that you might hear it. Now Yakima, you are wondering how cold it gets here. Because we are only 1 degree south of the equator, it doesn't get particularly cold, because remember, there goes a car and it looks like it's one of the hot air balloon support runners. Now, because we're so close to the equator, we don't have extreme seasons here. The further away you are from the equator, the bigger the seasons become, because the sun then runs at a much larger angle from between winter and summer. But being right near to the equator, the angle is not very large in coming to winter. So you're looking at about a 10 degree maybe difference between summer and winter, and that's in centigrade. In Fahrenheit, probably about a 30 degree, but it's really nondescript. So winter doesn't get very cold at all. It's merely, you might see that I've got a jersey on, but this is probably one of the coldest mornings that I've felt so far, and it's really actually just down to the wind chill factor that I'm feeling as I'm driving along. But I can tell you, within half an hour, as the sun gets up, I will be taking off my layers and cooling off. I often just wear long sleeve and cotton shirts, and it's actually more so for sunburn than keeping warm, because I actually get quite hot wearing those clothes, but I would rather protect my arms from the sun, because here it's rather cool, but the sun is very, very sharp, and it does burn. If you've got a light complexion skin, you need to take a lot of protection, whether it be sunscreen or covering up. Very important. So this little black-bellied bustard moving through, we have been hearing a lot of them calling, and there he's doing his little pop. All right, we've got a quick link to Taylor. She's got something very exciting to show you.
Look at what we've got, look at what we've got. I think we found the black Coucal, everybody. I think we have it. Let's just see. That is not a red-winged starling. That I can tell you. There's a little bit of white under its breast, but it's completely black coloration with, of course, that rusty color. And we're in the same spot that I was the other day when I wasn't sure if I'd seen it or not. And I said that it could have been either of the two, but now I'm convinced that it is a black Coucal. I'm going to open up the Coucals, though, in a minute while you have a look at it. How cool is that? Oh, that's amazing. Brent is gonna be so jealous. 232. I should have remembered this page. That's amazing. Now, does everybody agree with me? We'll see. If you don't be hashtags very live and tell me that I'm wrong. I'm used to it. I just want to 100% confirm that that's exactly what we're looking at. Yes, Manu! It has to be. It has to be. There's nothing else that looks like a black Coucal. We'll have a quick look and then we'll go back to it. So there it is in the book. A black body. Now there is a little bit of white on its breast, but I don't think it'll be a melanistic white-browed. Maybe it's a melanistic white-browed Coucal, but I doubt it. I don't think so. I think that the black Coucal is just a little bit smaller in terms of size. I'm just having a look here. Yeah, it is. Length, a white-browed Coucal, which is this one here. No, it's not. It's this one. It gets to 41 centimeters, whereas the black Coucal only gets to 38. So there is a size difference. And also, it has a red eye versus the black Coucal not. So you can see most of the Coucals have got red eyes, except the black Coucal. It doesn't have a red eye at all. Very cool. Let's have another look at it, because this is a very special bird to see. Woo! I'm so excited. There you go, Money. On it. You're always on it. I wish it wasn't so far away either. I wish it would come around this way. Isn't that so special? Now, I don't know if Brent has actually showed you one, or James or Scott has showed you one before. I think this is a new bird for Safari Live, but I'll wait for confirmation from the directors if that is indeed the case. I wish it would just hop around a little bit so we can get some different angles, start to get a few more pictures. Very nice. So this is a brand new species of bird for me. I've never seen a black Coucal before, and it'd be nice if you could get some screenshots, because it's just interesting to see the little bit of white mottling. There it goes, it flies. Flying just like a Coucal, diving into the middle of the shrub. And that's what I saw the last time, is that I thought the behavior, even though I didn't get a clear view, the behavior was very much that of a Coucal. The way that they fly fairly low to the ground and dive straight into the shrubs. Woo! Joey from Australia said that's definitely a black Coucal. I'm so excited. Please tag Brent in every single screenshot that you see, because he's been trying to find you one for ages. Now I know though where this one Coucal is living, so I can tell Brent, and it's so close to home, so he'll be very excited to come and see it. I'm pretty sure Brent has seen black Coucals before, but I think he was hoping to show you all one. How magical! I'm clapping for myself. Well done, Manu. You can get a high five. No, that was ridiculous. Yeah. That was the worst high five, the first one. I'm hopeless at giving high fives, so I even try and do the whole elbow technique, but I always miss. That's fine. It doesn't have to be my strong point. Woo! That is so amazing. I'm so excited. Thank you, guys, and thanks for being on the journey with me. And for those of you that doubted me, I also doubted myself, so don't know. I was saying, maybe it was a red-winged starling, Taylor, you idiot. But I'm glad that we confirmed. I've come back here a couple of times and it hasn't been around. And I said to Manu, let's change our plan quickly. Let's come past here just to have a look. Ah. Snazzy, very or bet, I think. You've said that you think you've seen it once before with Brent. That's very cool though, but it's not a common sighting to have. So very, very nice. Brent will be proud of me, if anything, just because I've finally managed to see it. I've seen so many new birds over the last few days, the last week at least. It's been incredible. The palm nut vulture was a new one for me. Then seeing the western banded snake eagle, that was amazing as well. Of course, I haven't seen black herons for a while, so it wasn't a new species for me, but it was just one that I hadn't seen for a very long time. So that was a warm welcome. But now we know where there's a black coucal that's living, and I hope it has a mate close by, so we can have lots of little baby black coucals. Now, seeing as though we've got one thing out of the way, we're probably going to look for lions now. So we're heading in the lion direction. Now, Guide Monkey, you're wondering if the common crow has been spotted in the Mara. I haven't seen, I think I've seen a raven. One day, quite close to Olololo Gate, there was, Manu, was it you when the lions had killed that eland? And they were feeding, no, it wasn't Manu, maybe it was Craig. So anyways, this one time, I had a little roller. This one time I was down at the Olololo Gate and there was some vultures later in the morning coming down. And I did see something. I don't know if it was a crow or a raven. I didn't get a proper look at it. It was quite high, but what it was doing, it was mobbing the vultures. And I know that ravens and crows often do that. It's a big problem in the Sabi sand. I mean, the size difference between a vulture and a crow or a raven is quite significant. But they are such determined birds, both those species, and they often chase away the indigenous birds that should be there and move them right out of the area, which is a big problem. So I know a lot of places, if they see them, they actually try and get rid of them, so they don't want them around to chase the other predatory birds away, or the ones that feed on carrion at least. So yeah, but I haven't, but I'll keep an eye out, although I'm not going to say I'm looking forward to seeing a crow or a raven out here. They must go back to where they came from. Don't come and bother our birds. So our plan from here now is to head to those lioness we had yesterday afternoon. Oh wow, Shamson, you said that's number 140 for your Mara bird list. That's more than I've seen so far. 140 birds just in the Mara. Pretty spectacular. Very, very nice. I'm so chuffed with that. I'm really, really happy, because I promise you, I've had sleepless nights over that sighting. They're tossing and turning, waking up in hot sweats, shouting, "Starling, starling!" No, that didn't happen. That was me being dramatic. Karen, you said that the black coucal we just saw was 135. Goodness gracious. You guys are all doing very, very well with the birds. I'm very impressed. Now, let's hear not just your Mara bird list, let's hear in total how many birds, well, that one was, if you hadn't been on the show when Brent had seen the coucal, then let us know. I'm sure we must have some that are in the 200s, maybe even pushing up to 300s now, seeing as though we've got a new area we can drive, a new country. So we're definitely seeing lots of birds that we don't see down in SA. I've also added a few. I really need to get on this bird list thing. I've been quite hopeless with it, unfortunately. Zena, you're wondering if the Mara has pygmy falcons. I don't think down in the Mara, but Scott was always telling me, I think it was in Samburu, that they have quite a few pygmy falcons. I haven't seen any here. Maybe they occur in this area. I've never seen a pygmy falcon at all, but I really, really, really want to see one at some point in my life, because they just look so adorable from all the pictures. I know it's a little raptor, and it probably wouldn't like to be called adorable, but really, that's what they are. Okay, is this our little sneaky forest road? I like this route. This is my new favorite route in the Mara now. Check how cool it is. So you go from open grasslands, and then you get this little build-up of a forest, like a mini forest, and you get to drive through it, which is quite nice as well. I always tell you how there aren't many sections on the reserve where you can sort of drive through these areas. Black rhino hotspot, hippo hotspot, buffalo hotspot, and then of course the lions like to lay around here. There's lots of shade. It'd be a great wind barrier having all these shrubs around, so to look after them. It also then should pop us out exactly where those lioness were, or at least with not too far away. Oh, baby guinea fowl! Oh, they're so small. Come back. I'm sorry, I'll be quiet. Can you see them? Oh, look how cute they are. Those are tiny little guinea fowl. The first ones I've seen. Oh, wow. They're hopping about. They're so small, very shy. And of course, Mom and Dad are going to take them into the thicket. Let me quickly go a bit forward. Maybe they'll come out. I doubt it, though. With chicks that young, they're going to keep them hidden and duck into the bushes like that. Here we go. Maybe we'll get another view. There's actually one of the adults is leading them away. But maybe they settle down. The guinea fowl here are quite relaxed. You can just see them running at the feet of the adults. Well, there should be quite a few of them here. I think there must be at least 8, 9, 10, if not even more. But they're so tiny. I don't think they've just hatched. I think they're probably a couple of days old, because they were quite quick on their feet there when they saw me. Maybe we're the first vehicle they've seen. There we go, there's one little one coming through. They're so small, they're not even taller than the grass yet. That's so precious. Sadly, a lot of these aren't going to make it to adulthood. Snakes and other raptors and jackals, young lion cubs would find that very interesting. So that's it's a bit sad because they are so precious. Now, there was a question from Zane, and you were wondering if this show broadcasts often. Well, Zane, this is live and interactive, and it's happening right now. So you're seeing Scott with the Styx Pride down in South Africa in the Sabi sand. And then myself and Ralph are driving around here in the Mara Triangle at the moment, and it's live. And we do 2 safaris every single day. So we do a sunrise safari, and then we also do a sunset safari, which is quite cool. The sunset safari is nice and long. We're having a lot of luck with the birds today. Very nice to see those little guinea fowl. I know it wasn't the greatest view, but that's something now to look forward to over the next few days. We'll try and get better glimpses of the little guinea fowl chicks. Very precious, and they're the most amazing color too. Hopefully we'll see them out in the open. And you can see how well camouflaged they are. Now I need to keep an eye out for these lions. Busy Leo, you're wondering what is the smallest bird in the Mara? I don't know. I know the smallest bird in southern Africa is the grey pendulum tit. I have no idea what it would be. Maybe one of the testiculars. I don't know if I haven't seen any tits that occur here. They're tiny little birds. You know who will know those? We can ask Ralph. He can give it a bash. But Scott's got the most experience in Kenya, and maybe he will know what is the smallest bird in the Mara. But actually, I'm not sure. But some of you know. If you know, let us know. #SafariLive, and then Nikki will tell me what it is, in case anybody can figure it out. But I'm unsure. There's so many small birds around here. Some of them are so tiny, and I'm pretty sure it's the testiculars. Right, we're gonna have to tell Ralph where that black Coucal is as well, because I'm sure he'd like to see it. So speaking of Ralph, I'm gonna send you back across to him while we search for the lions.
Thanks, Taylor, and what a lucky find that is. I'm very jealous of Taylor with having seen that black Coucal. Very rare and very awesome to see that bird around this area. This is where we saw the white-browed Coucals, and I know now that people have asked Taylor what is the smallest bird in the Mara. Well, in South Africa and in southern Africa in general, it's the Cape Penduline tit, which is a tiny little bird, but I'm sure, I don't think we get the Cape Penduline tit in the Mara, but I'm sure that we'll get one of the other little tits that is a small little individual, probably one of the smallest in the region as well. Now, you are joining us 100% live as we're making our way towards this hyena den, so it's all very exciting. This is only the 3rd time we're going there, so we don't have an exact perfect route to get there, but we're making our way there nice and slowly. We obviously just need to be careful that we don't fall into an aardvark burrow, and because we'd get ourselves nicely stuck. And we know that the den is just in front of us. We're going to obviously try and set ourselves up that we are nicely having the light behind us, but we also need to be careful because these hyena, there's 80 plus of them, so they're lying all over the place, and we obviously don't want to disturb them as we come in. So we just go nice and slowly. There is the den just in front of us, where you can see just in front of these hot air balloons, but there we've got the hyena now. So we're going to make our way slowly over there, let them relax with the sound that is coming towards them, and that they don't get a surprise. They're quite relaxed with us around them. Obviously don't get too close. We give them their space, and there's some of the little cubs coming out. So just a minute or two and we'll set ourselves up nicely that we can see them all clearly. As I say, I'm just keeping my eye out for any aardvark burrows. It'll be a little bit of an embarrassment to get stuck here now, right next to this hyena den. But it looks like nobody seems to be really that bothered with us coming around, so that's good news. To the area now and say hello. I don't want to put my shade on them, Archie. No, I might have to pass them and then come in a bit. There we go. Okay, that's close enough. We don't need to get any closer. We will disturb them, I think, if we go any closer. They did have a look at us, but they put their heads back down. There we go. Welcome to the hyena den, and look at all the little lovely cubs. Already getting a little bit curious about us, probably wondering, what is that big green animal, eh? It's making a funny noise as well. That's being me talking now. Wow, look at that. Beautiful in this morning light. Looks like one of the females has had enough of the cubs bothering her for milking. There's one or two that look like they're following her. Beautiful individual this is. Look at that. She's obviously just sniffing us, wondering probably what we are as well, but she's seen a lot more of these big green smelly animals than the cubs have. She probably understands a little bit better. And we've got these little bit older cubs. They're probably around a year old, I would say. They're very fluffy and still got that young coat of theirs on. That characteristic satellite dish ears of theirs pick up noises from a very large distance. Very pretty sight this, and lovely to be in with the family's goings on, nice and bright in the morning. And I can't wait for when we see them bringing some meat back to the den. That would be very interesting. All around us we can hear the dominant sound at the moment is Coqui Franklin. They're going beep boop beep boop beep 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 beep. Now Sabi, thanks for your comment saying that you love seeing these little cubs. Stubby, it's more than my pleasure to bring you here. It's you, the viewers, that enable me to be able to come out and be in the position I'm in at the moment. So thank you, Stubby, for watching and allowing me to bring this to you. So I think it's a bit of a mutual respect and thanks from us to you and you to us. Fantastic relationship we have here, bringing you live safaris, and with that, for me, being able to sit here next to these hyenas in their family den is absolutely stunning. Look at that, a little bit of playfulness. With hyenas, playfulness can very quickly turn into aggression, even with these little cubs. So, you know, a lot of times people say, oh, cute, and I think so too. They look very cute, but they can be so aggressive, even at such a young age, that it's I almost need to retract my words when I say, oh, how cute it is, because in the same breath, they literally look like they want to kill each other. But that is cute. A little bit of an older one coming in there. Remember, terribly political, even at that age. They will be taking on the mother's position in the hierarchy. So it's not about age or anything like that. It's really dependent on where the mother is within the political or hierarchical system of hyenas, which is very complex, and which is why it's so interesting to sit here and watch them, because you will see older individuals even being subordinate to little cubs, which is fascinating, because normally that's not the case in general. But hyenas don't conform to generality. They are almost cut on their own completely. But they've done very well evolutionary wise. Wherever they have populations established, they are very well established, as they are here with 80 plus individuals. Look at that, eh? It looks like most of the cubs, if not all of them, are out, all enjoying this nice, fresh, cool morning air. Now, Shan's son, you're wondering if bringing meat back to the den would alert predators, or are the hyenas not that worried because of their numbers? Well, Shan's son, like I was chatting with Archie, with there being 80 plus individuals here, and I believe that there's going to be even over 100 shortly with these cubs coming through, I would say that I think the predators need to worry about the hyenas, not the other way around. Because if this group or clan got together, they could literally have themselves an army, and they could walk across this Masai Mara and probably take it for themselves. So no, I think lions would think twice about coming anywhere near this clan, because it would be a serious risk to their lives. And I mean, even if half of this clan mobilized, you'd have 40 hyenas to the biggest pride I've seen is around 15, but that's including their cubs. So I think those lions should really think twice about challenging or coming anywhere near this den. And I can tell you they've got sentries dotted all around the plains here. As you drive away from this den, you just see random hyena all over the place. Crafty, you're wondering how many litters hyenas have a year. Well, they only have 1 litter per year, and they would probably have a little bit less than 1 per year. I think it's, I'm just double checking, but I'm pretty sure that it's 3 months, the gestation period, so it's not very long, but obviously the nursing of the cubs, etc., it does take a few years before they would have another litter. So I would say probably between 2 and 3 years between litters, and it is 90 days, so 3 months the gestation period, and they have normally between 1 and 3 cubs at a time. And as I've said previously, if they do have more than 1, especially females that are high up in the hierarchy, it's very often that the firstborn can practice siblicide and actually kill and eat his siblings or sibling. It's just a pure dominance with hyena, and hyena live to more or less around 20 years of age, so it's a decent ripe old age, and even for a lion, that's a very decent age. So hyenas live quite long. Now, Michael, you're wondering how long it takes for the cub to learn its ranking within the clan. That is what is so fascinating, Michael. It is pretty much within the first few days of their life that they start to realize this whole hierarchy and dominance structure, and that is one of the reasons why they can practice the siblicide, because two cubs born from the same mother would theoretically form or be part of the same position within the hierarchy. So, and that's where that dominance almost kicks in immediately, and the firstborn cub, who is normally stronger and having fed and been alive, even if it's a few hours or days or day longer than the others, it immediately doesn't want to share that position with the others. So that is the reason why it goes for the kill and gets rid of the potential equal. So it wants that position all for itself. Because as you could imagine, if they both survived through to adulthood, they would be on the exact same point, which they're not really willing to sit with. So that's where it is totally incredible that such youngsters can already be ruthless in the Game of Thrones. Now, Wanda and Wisteria, you're both wondering, when do the cubs start to get lighter coats? Well, it is after a few months, heading towards a year of age. That's why I can tell that one, once it starts getting that color like that, it's getting towards around a year old. And then they do suckle towards even up till and over 18 months of age, and they are very large at this time, almost 3/4 the size of an adult. So it's quite interesting to see an almost adult suckling from its mother at that late age. But the milk is extremely rich, and so it does give them a very good head start. And that is one of the reasons why hyena can also disappear from the den site for a couple of days without the babies having too much problem and not having to suckle in that time, because when they did last suckle, they got that extremely rich milk. Now, the hyena's milk is one of the richest in all of the mammal society and kingdom, so very, very good for the youngsters, and one of the reasons why they also have such a good ratio of of youngsters surviving through to adulthood because of that brilliant passing on of protein from the adults to the youngsters. I think the biggest mortality is from their own siblings killing each other, and it is everything is fascinating for me about hyenas, but one of them that is really incredible is that you never see a sick hyena. Now, Muldoon, you're wondering if a higher ranking female could get demoted within the ranks. It is possible, but it's highly unlikely. So there can be some shifts within the hierarchy, but it needs to be a big challenge from, and it's normally a challenge from a female just below that would challenge for that position, and she could literally dethrone her down to the one below. So it is possible, but it's not very common, but it does happen, and obviously that is when we do have slight changes within the ranking. Now, very often when you see that little youngster with a reasonably massive penis, that is normally a female, and that is actually an enlarged clitoris, and it is erectile as well, which is why previously when people studied hyena, they believed that because you see a female with swollen mammary glands, but then she's also got a massive penis, which we now know is not the case. But in times gone by, they thought that hyena were even more incredible than we do now, because they thought that they were hermaphrodites, and so having both male and female parts, so literally able to reproduce between individuals randomly, and possibly even being able to inseminate themselves. But we now know that that's not the case. That seems to be an entirely down to a greeting ceremony around that enlarged clitoris, which looks like a penis. And they also say that because of the increased levels of testosterone in the females, and in fact the females have more testosterone than the males, this results in this penis-looking clitoris, which is used for urinating. It's also used for giving birth, and it is also used for copulating. So there's three purposes for that, and but it's not all very enjoyable. If you've ever seen hyena mating or copulating, it looks a little bit more painful than even that of lions. But incredible the way that they have evolved this, almost the females taking on the role of males and males taking on the role of females. Not to say which should be which, I'm just saying in general that this is almost a complete swap in the general ways of nature. But that's what makes them so interesting, I believe. And so we will sit and continue to watch what unfolds with this little clan, and such a wonderful find that Archie and I have now got here with this hyena den, and nobody else can see where we are, so we're pretty much on our own. And I think it might only be the lady from Michigan State University who is the other person that knows where this den site is. So we've got our little secret. Alright everybody, we're going to sit here and see what happens with these little cubs and them enjoying the nice fresh morning sunlight. But we'll be right here when you come back. But let's just send you on over to Taylor and see how she's getting on.
We were getting on very well, in fact, and I had a spot surprise for you. There was a leopard not too far away from where Manu and the leopard off-road and up a tree, and we cannot off-road in that area. It's a non-off-roading area, So unfortunately we're not going to be able to see it, but maybe we'll come back this afternoon or a little bit later in the morning, and maybe he would have moved away. Some guides have seen it, but I sorry about that. Gremlins are getting me this morning, so I was going to say it's very important that you do follow the rules and regulations when you're in areas and there are those types of things. So we won't be going to drive off-road to view the leopard, I'm afraid. I'm very sorry. Now apparently it's downpouring in Djuma. So I'm just watching as I climb up here. This is very eroded, which is a bit crazy. Well, it's good, we need the rain. I've heard it's very, very dry and they've had very little rain, so that's quite exciting. Hopefully it's a nice soaking rain that lasts throughout most of the day. So Scott is setting up the tent as we speak, so he should join us shortly. And yeah, now I don't know what we're going to do, because I raced over here to try and get this leopard, but I was not informed that it was very far off of the nearest road. But I think this afternoon could be quite cool. I think we might get lucky this afternoon. I've also had about 30,000 insects fly into my eye, so I'm just waiting for it to start to swell up. I can feel it now. I'm going to have to get my eye drops out that are somewhere here. Almost can't see out of it anymore. I'm so sorry, Nikki. It's very muffled. Please can you repeat what you just said? Thank you, Faith. Palin, you're wondering if you have porcupine in the Mara. Yeah, I've seen the Angama Pride chasing a porcupine one night. It was quite funny. They first chased around a hippo and then they chased around a porcupine, which was really cool. So that was quite fun. And then I'm not sure. I think that's like the only one I've seen. We see their tracks often. I showed Manu their footprints the other day with the quill marks going along in the sand, which was quite nice. So we know that they're around. Again, it comes down to there being long grass. Obviously this area that we're in the moment is heavily grazed, and it's also not a great grazing site. The grass doesn't grow as tall, so it's obviously different species of grass. There seems to be a lot more little shrubs that grow around here. So you could find porcupines coming to dig for the roots. This would be probably the best spot to see a porcupine, in fact. Let's go this way. I must be careful if I drive this way that an aeroplane is not coming, because this one takes me to the airstrip and we don't want to be being knocked by a plane. That wouldn't be very nice. It's a bit quiet. There are a couple of animals just starting to pop up now. This is one of my favorite skeletons. If another insect flies into my eye, I'm going to be so upset. But every time I see this skeleton, which I assume is from a hippo, it's just really big, and I've seen lots of big bones scattered around here. It stands out like a sore thumb. It's like my little marker. Manu, eating macadamia nuts. Manu's having a power snack at the moment. That's how we multitask. Got to keep those energy high. Hey, Manu. What else have we got? Let's go up a little bit further and see what else there is. I'm listening. Oh my god, that's too much. I'm sorry. My goodness.